show. This is huge. Trump has come out, and I can't even believe I'm about to say what I'm going to say. So buckle up, guys. Trump has come out and proposed that the United States, Russia, and China mutually draw down their military budgets to 50% of what they are today. So we spend about almost $1 trillion on our defense budget every single year. Trump wants to cut that in half, but he wants to make a deal with Russia and China to do the exact same. I can't even believe it, guys. Who would have ever even thought about this? But it's a way to cut spending. But the Doge investigation has finally forced Congress to admit to the U.S. government, this is huge, guys, Congress to admit to the U.S. government's long history of financing Al-Qaeda, the Taliban, and ISIS. They admitted it on Congress in their testimony, guys. I've got the video for you. And this is what Democrats are fighting for. They want to continue funding this when MAGA is over here trying to stop this. You can't make this stuff up. But they want to continue the payments. NYPD is making arrests as we speak and with anti-ICE protesters in New York City, guys. This comes just hours after Tom Homan met with New York City Mayor Adams, who agreed to allow ICE to use Rikers Island to house illegals. And guess what, guys? Guess who may be going to jail? This is hilarious, guys. If this isn't the most ironic, if you're a MAGA guy, you're going to love this. Guess this person who might be going to jail is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC. Border czar Tom Homan announced that he is speaking to the DOJ, the Department of Justice, right now about AOC potentially impeding law enforcement efforts when it comes to ICE and could potentially be put into jail for her actions. Guys, how hilarious is this? On top of that, in Trump's big meeting today, which we're going to go over in detail, he said, we're looking into the IRS. We want to reduce it in size. We want to put Russia back into G7. Car tariffs are coming. He's going to extend the TikTok ban. He wants to take all the chip business back from Taiwan. He wants to, he's not worried about producing or stockpiling new nuclear weapons. And he said that BRICS nations playing with the dollar could face 100% tariffs. Guys, such great news today, guys. Just want to say thank you to everybody that is watching. We're going to take care of you today with the news. Want to say thank you to all of our subscribers. Thank you to all of our members of the channel. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. If you want to join the TrueLife News family, the link is in the description to join. And want to say thank you to everybody that has given a super chat donation supporting us as we give back to charity, guys, with that money. And just want to say, if you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, it really does help to grow the channel and helps us get these videos out there, guys. But I'm telling you, we are hearing the brand, like this stuff right here. Trump team digs in, finds millions of wasted dollars at EPA, HUD with Doge help. We've got so much fraud, waste, and abuse that we have found. Check this out.
Literal sense, like nothing they say is in any way attached to the truth, but the far left, communist left embraces this. They enjoy it. It's like the strangest thing. It's like the Truman Show, but you know that Jim Carrey movie where everybody's acting around them? But like, it's like the Truman Show where Truman knows it's an act and they keep doing it. Here's another one. Miranda Devine. She has the book Laptop from Hell. Our publishing company, Disclosure, published the book. But Miranda Devine was stunned by this the other day. The New York Times, even for them, this is incredible. She said, the New York Times, put the other tweet first, actually, the one I quote tweeted. Do you have that? There was another tweet that she had. Basically, here, yeah. Miranda Devine. The New York Times writes this story and says, incredibly, which even for the New York Times, this has to be like at the basement of stupidity. They say that without evidence, that the New York Times is still in denial about the laptop from hell, that there's basically no evidence there was political influence to say this laptop was Russian.
Wow.
So Miranda Devine's like, really? Without evidence? Like, here's actual evidence. Like, this is what they live in a post-truth world. Here's Mike Morell, the former CIA acting director, to John Brennan, Obama's CIA director, ask him to sign the letter claiming Hunter Biden's laptop information was Russian in order to, quote, give the Biden campaign a talking point to push back on Trump. You can read the email, bro. Why does nobody trust the New York Times? Why are we the media now? Because this isn't hard, folks. Look at the article. German Lopez and Lina Bentahar. Aren't you embarrassed? Aren't you a little bit embarrassed? I mean, seriously, do your parents tell people they have no kids? I mean, you wrote this? She also claimed without evidence, talking about Tulsi Gabbard, that the intelligence community undermined reports about Hunter. What? Did you read the email? Folks, the Democrats will defend the media, every act of corruption, every lie, the post-truth world they live in, the Truman Show Act, because the entire ideology is based on a lie. The rich don't pay their fair share, conservatives are Nazi racist, voting laws are Jim Crow, school choice is anti-American and waste money. Nothing they tell you is true. Tax cuts cost the government revenue. Some imbecile on Twitter this morning got in it with one of my followers. Dan Bongino has no evidence tax cuts have increased government revenue. I've never said they're causal. I do have evidence that's true. It's called evidence from the U.S. Treasury. You could look it up, but you're too stupid to do that. The Democrats defend corruption, are defending the government waste the Doge is exposing, because the Democrats don't care about where the money goes. Yeah, yes, they obviously profit from it. Putting that part aside, point stipulated. I mean, again, I wrote Follow the Money to show you how Democrats profit from government. But I want you to follow me here. This is a really important point, and it got lost a little bit in the show. I sensed when I tweeted something out, some people got a little confused. The Democrats do profit from government corruption through their NGOs and sometimes directly. And this kind of informal money laundering system they have, give it NGOs, pay Democrat lawmakers, donate.
Guys, I hate to interrupt. Doge found that there was a person who was literally paid $1.5 million to go and stand somewhere watching some election office for 15 minutes a day. 15 minutes. I'm telling you what, I probably would have took the job too, but I don't think that it was actually paying in the right way. But this person, Doge found, got paid $1.5 million, 5 days a week, 15 minutes, watching the election, people counting ballots or something like that. That's corruption, and that's what's coming out.
But even then, if you were profiting, imagine it's your business. You don't want fraud in your own business, right? Because it's less money for you, correct? The point I was trying to get at yesterday is you would think even Democrats that profit from big government would be interested in weeding out fraud. Is this point making sense, Justin? Because it's more money for them. Mm-hmm. So people are asking me, well, why don't they care about the fraud? Because, folks, all they care about is control of the money. The government has to control your money no matter what. And they know they can't do it because the government can't even paint a color by numbers book. So they understand that if the fraud starts getting pointed out, it's over. Can you go to the LexisNexis guy first before Mike Lee? I want to get to that, but I want you to show you what I mean here. This LexisNexis CEO is up on Capitol Hill yesterday and shocked the entire world. They asked him, how much fraud do you think is in government payments? Dead people, double payments, companies that don't exist. Folks, the number he gives is staggering. The Democrats don't want you to see this because then you're going to say, why am I letting government control money? They can't figure this thing out. That's why.
Guys, we got almost 1,000 people watching. Guys, it really helps out. It means so much to us. If you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, it really helps. Let's get to 2,000 likes on stream, guys. That's the new goal for every video. We are going to grow True Life News, and this is the way to do it, guys. We don't have sponsors, but you're the sponsor whenever you click the like button, and it's free.
This.
How much money do you calculate is wasted due to waste, fraud, and abuse in the entitlement programs each year?
Yeah, my number right now between federal, state, and local government is you can save $1 trillion a year by simply putting in front-end identity verification, eliminating self-certification, and monitoring the back end of the programs that are providing the benefits. Those three things.
Did he just say $1 trillion? Our entire tax base is about $4 trillion. We spend about $6-7 trillion. You're telling me our tax band be $5 trillion, excuse me. This is how big the numbers are. You're telling me about 20% of the government are totally, completely fraudulent payments? They will defend this because the minute you start to see how bad the problem is, you're going to fire the bookkeeper, which is the government. And they don't want that. So they'd rather get paid a little less and keep the corrupt bookkeeper than get paid a little more and expose you the bookkeeper's corrupt. Does that make sense?
Guys, that is the corruption right in your face. But I got some good news for you guys. EPA administrator yesterday announced that the Biden administration tried to waste $20 billion of funneling tax money through FEMA to back-end NGOs trying to get more illegals into the country. Well, guess what? They found the institution, they found the bank, and they canceled the checks, and they returned $20 billion of the taxpayer money back to the Treasury. Thank you, Lee Zeldin. Summerman, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. He said, get ready for the arrest, everyone. Guys, I'm just going to go ahead and show you, because I know a lot of y'all don't like AOC. She's a really progressive, far left activist who literally hates Trump, can't stand Elon. She literally said Elon was the dumbest billionaire out there. Like, are you kidding me? Look at this beautiful news. Borders Czar Tom Homan announced that he's speaking to the Department of Justice about AOC potentially impeding law enforcement efforts when it comes to ICE. Know what that means? She may be going to the L Slammer. Put her in the paddy wagon, y'all. Show her what it means to actually follow the dang law. And what I'm going to show you next, guys, I, in my wildest dreams, would never have ever imagined that I'd be showing you what I'm about to show you now, guys, in terms of the of what we're going to see here. I got to pull this up. I'm sorry, guys. 1 second. Of what we're going to see with... I didn't even open it up. I'm so sorry, guys. Let me pull this up. Right here. Of what we could see potentially with our defense budget, guys. Check this out.
Conference amazing out of both President and Modi. You can tell, I think it's pretty clear how highly the president thinks of Modi. And it's just incredible. And said, look, a lot of good things together. And there's tough talks going on behind the scenes. The reciprocity of tariffs is specifically, I think, talking about India. India's got some very high tariffs when it comes to the United States. And Modi's a tough negotiator, so I'm sure the president's got into it with him on that. And they will figure it out. These are what allies do. President also dropped, he said earlier today that he'd had an hour-and-a-half phone call with Vladimir Putin, an hour and a half. I think that had been reported, but I don't know if it was that clear, hour and a half. And now Witkoff, he had sent Witkoff, Steve Witkoff, who basically struck the Hamas ceasefire in Israel. Witkoff is been sent to, I guess, Moscow to meet with Putin and his team. Steve Witkoff's a guy to keep your eye on in this administration. He is a doer. He's a real estate guy. President Trump has known him for a long time. They're close friends. And Witkoff will get stuff done. He's a deal guy. I mean, he got the, I wasn't crazy about all of the ceasefire, but it's pretty extraordinary. He was able to get it done. And that's, Witkoff can get done very hard things. And he's now, looks like, very engaged in the Ukraine situation. Kind of some consternation or some, I don't want to say confusion about the team. They've named another team, really with Marco Rubio and to kind of head it up with Pete Hegseth in talking to the Ukrainians. President Trump made a phone call. Do I have Brian Glenn? Can I go to, okay. Okay, they cleared the room, the East Room. A lot of the reporters get thrown out. Immediately afterwards, we're going to get a hot wash-up from Brian about exactly what went on to put us in the room. Once again, these are bilats. Really important with India, hugely. Tariffs today. I don't have time to play, so I'll do it on the morning show tomorrow. But President Trump had an extraordinary statement earlier in the day. I call it beating swords into plowshares. President Trump announced that he wanted to have a three-part negotiation or meeting with President Xi and President Putin, where he would negotiate a deal that we would be able to cut we have the clip, be able to cut the defense budget by 50%. I think I've got that. Let's go ahead and play it.
One of the first meetings I want to have is with President Xi of China, President Putin of Russia, and I want to say, let's cut our military budget in half, and we can do that. And I think we'll be able to do it.
Elon Musk identified.
Okay,
Wow.
cut in half. So you see what he's thinking. This is another big power move like Greenland, like Canada, like Gaza. President Trump's trying to bring peace and prosperity. I would say the watchword in President Trump's, what he's doing geopolitically is, number one, put the guns down. Let's everybody put the guns down, put them on the front of you, on the table, and let's try to hammer out deals. This is why he's a deal guy. You know, President Trump's read a lot of military history. He has quite a martial aspect about much of what he does and how his bearing and how he conducts himself is one of the reasons the military respects him so much and one of the reasons the law enforcement respects him so much. But he's a man of peace, and he realizes you can only get peace if you're prepared to go to war.
Yep.
If they think that you'll break bad on them, they'll listen up. This was the lesson of Ukraine. Putin would have never, ever, ever even considered going into Ukraine if President Trump had been president. Only weakness.
Hey guys, I really want to hear your opinion on this. I have never in my life, I've never heard any study, I've never read anywhere that Trump said he wants to speak with Xi Jinping and with Putin and make a truce that everybody cut their defense budget by half. Like, this sounds like movie type stuff, but he literally said, I think we can get this done. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because that is mind-blowing to me. Like, I'm still trying to comprehend that he even said that and wants to do that.
This invites that. Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood would never in a million years have considered going into Gaza with President Trump as president. Not going to do it. You don't want to trigger that guy. Xi, in the whole first term, never, ever, ever, ever considered any type of assault on Taiwan from the South China Sea or through the Straits of Taiwan. That's what a strong president gives you. The budget committee is trying to get to. I understand they're going to vote it out tonight. Hey, here's all. I want to know how many cuts. And the same with Steve. They're dealing with the fiscal 2026 budget. Fine. Show me the $1 trillion in cuts. I don't want a $2 trillion deficit. I want to see it cut in half. How'd you do it? What they're talking about, the $1.5 trillion over 10 years, that's $150 billion a year. Now, I realize it's maybe taken differently, but it's $150 billion a year. It's not going to work. And to back it up, if you got the CR on the 14th, we got to fund the government going forward, or maybe not. But I don't see him shutting down President Trump's government in his first 100 days.
They're going to try.
It's, how can we possibly have a $2 trillion deficit? Where are the Doge cuts? We need them all. They've had enough time to identify at least the waste, fraud, abuse in these different organizations. It doesn't have to be perfect, because they'll go through a lot more refinement even after approval. We have to know directionally where we are. And it galls me they're working off Biden's number. I hope it galls the president. I think when the president's fully briefed and fully informed, it'll gall him big league. I think he'll say, what in the hell are we doing here with Biden's numbers? It's an interesting question. I think it's generally confusion and mayhem with Capitol Hill, but hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's some logic here. Maybe they're making some progress on this. But until we see the math, and I mean hundreds of billions of dollars of cuts, hundreds of billions of dollars of cuts, and stop whining about entitlements, get into that discretionary spending, get into the Pentagon, get into Medicaid. Medicaid, you got to be careful, because a lot of MAGA's on Medicaid. I'm telling you, if you don't think so, you are dead wrong. Medicaid's going to be a complicated one. Just can't take a meat axe to it, although I would love to.
Guys, thank you so much for your support, guys. We got over 1,500 people watching, guys. Y'all are the best. Remember, y'all are my sponsors, guys. If you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, It's free, guys. Let's get to 2,000 likes on this video stream. We can do it, guys. I wanted to say thank you to Jeff Loves the Truth for being a member, going his second month. He said, I love the channel. Look forward to seeing us grow. I also look forward to cash being confirmed so we can get to the bottom of this corruption. 100% I love that. Jeff Loves the Truth, thank you so much for the super chat. And Andy with the wonderful question. George Soros purchased over 200 radio stations. Can Doge find out if he purchased these stations with our own tax money that he got from USAID? I'm going to actually look into that. I'll get back to you, Andy. Y'all show Andy and Jeff Loves the Truth some love in the chat. Guys, remember how Trump gave the federal buyouts and he said, hey, we'll give you 8 months severance. We'll give you benefits. Just get out and go work in the private sector and stop working for the federal government. Well, 75,000 federal workers have already accepted President Trump's resignation offer. Now, remember, we have about 2 million federal workers in the United States. So they're trying to shoot for 20%. They said we may land around 10%, but hey, 75,000 is still huge. Also, want to show you that, guys, we're just living in weird times. Would you ever have thought that you would have seen Bernie Sanders and Josh Hawley on the same bill in continuity, working together to cap the credit card interest rates at 10%? Because y'all know the average credit card interest rate right now is at 24%. This is kicking people's butts. We've got Biden inflation we're still dealing with. And so they're saying, let's help people out. This would 100% boost the economy big time because it allows people to keep more of their money or they can pay off those credit cards. But this is beautiful. I love both sides working together. Bernie Sanders, Josh Hawley, one's a super left progressive. One is a very MAGA conservative working together. This is beautiful. But what I also love too, guys, is the transparency. So Mike Johnson, they're working on this. They're calling it like the super bill for Trump. Trying to get this passed as soon as possible, and we're getting all the inside notes on that. Check this out.
House Speaker Mike Johnson is with us. Speaker Johnson, welcome. Thank you. Appreciate you being here. I know you were just in meetings with the Republican caucus. Acknowledged that this was about nominees, not about policy. But if the White House, President Trump, largely expects a rubber stamp from Congress on his agenda, and he's said that before, what is Congress's role right now? What's your role?
Well, the role is to deliver on that agenda. We all ran on that as well, and President Trump delivered a mandate that the people gave him a mandate. He delivered a resounding victory. He won the Electoral College, as we know, soundly, as well as a popular vote. 77 million people voted for him, and 74.8 million voted for House Republicans, the largest vote total we've ever had. So we see that as a mandate to do this job, to get the job done, to deliver on the president's priorities and his principles and the things he promised on the campaign trail. It's the same exact thing we ran on, and now we get a chance to enact it.
I think it's fair to say that not all of your cats that you are hurting agree exactly maybe what exactly the mandate is. This is Eric Burlinson, Republican of Missouri, talking about your leadership as it relates to this bill and the tax cuts and the spending cuts.
At the moment, has Mike Johnson let you down?
I think Mike, probably given his own aspirations, has let himself down. I think Mike Johnson says he's a fiscal conservative. This is nowhere near good enough, and I hope that he agrees with me that we could do much better.
My question is this: if everybody ran on the same agenda, you pointed out how many millions of people voted for it, and everybody ran on the Trump agenda, why is there so much disagreement over what it means?
Well, I don't think there's a disagreement over what the agenda means. I think there's concern about how to get it all paid for. Because while at the same time we want to extend the tax cuts, and we will, we're going to extend the Trump-era tax cuts, because otherwise, Leland, we'll have the largest tax increase in U.S. history hit here at the end of the year all at once. So we got to achieve that mission. But we also have to pay for it, because at the same time we have a $36 trillion federal debt, we have a growing deficit, and a lot of us, like Eric, like me, we're fiscal conservatives. We want to make sure that we're not adding to that deficit problem while we do this pro-growth economy and usher it back in. So the analysis and the math and the deliberation over how to deliver that is what will take us a few weeks here to work out. But we started the process. Tomorrow, the Budget Committee will mark up the resolution that will kickstart the reconciliation process, and it will go on in earnest for the next several weeks. You'll hear a lot of debate and discussion and deliberation about how to deliver that, but we'll get it done. We will find the equilibrium point that makes it all work, and Eric and my friends will all be pleased with the product in the end.
You think it's fair to say that there's not going to be a single Democrat that's going to vote for this, right? That you're going to have to get either all or all but one Republican on board?
Yeah, I'm sad to say I don't expect any Democrats to vote for it. They're in full panic mode right now, and they have thrown down the gauntlet. They're trying to fight President Trump on every single inch of ground, and all of his agenda. And that's why the reconciliation process is allowed as a partisan exercise where you don't necessarily need members of the other party if you can keep all of your own members together, and that's what the challenge is. But I think we'll get it done.
All right, so keeping all the members together is a little bit harder when you only have one or two or none to lose. A lot of this arm twisting comes down probably to President Trump himself. I know you've been there in the room when he puts his arm around somebody, says, all right, you got to come with us on this. What exactly is his go-to move? Bring us inside the room.
Well, I've been in those rooms a lot with him, and he has a way of negotiating where he gets the final outcome, as you've seen. He's the expert at the art of the deal. I think what he's advocating for here is what's good for the American people. The America First agenda is to bring about a pro-growth economy again. It is to secure the border. It is to make our American communities safe again. It's to restore peace through strength. It's to make sure that we don't have the largest tax increase in U.S. history, and we get the U.S. economy going again and restore our stature on the world stage. We can do all those things in one big, beautiful bill, as he likes to say. And that's what we're going to achieve.
Just give me an example here.
Takes a lot of work.
Give me an example here about how he's put. Okay, you know what I'm trying to do. You're not going to do it, are you?
I do, I get it. No, I'll tell you. Well, look, I mean, last Thursday, okay, we spent 4 hours at the White House. It wasn't a scheduled meeting. I just brought a select group of Budget Committee members over there, about 15 folks, who came to the cabinet room, and he came in and visited with us, and then he said, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to make a deal. You guys are going to make a deal. He said, I'm going to step over here in the Oval Office, which is 5 yards away, and he said, Speaker, come knock on the door when they get this deal done. And he got up and walked out. That was a pretty good encouragement to my colleagues and friends there. Yeah. And 3.5 hours later, I went and knocked on the Oval Office door and said, Mr. President, we have the deal. So then he brought everybody in and gave them challenge coins and took photos, and we celebrated together. So
let's go.
That's the 8,000-pound gorilla down the hallway, and he has that way of getting it done.
Yeah, best home field advantage in the world, really. It was designed that way. I'm hearing about today, we started the show about this. I know you were busy, so you didn't see it. Is inflation and prices. And there is no question that inflation is continuing. Fair to blame Joe Biden's policies, because that was just 3 weeks ago. You've got Doge coming in. People are celebrating all of the waste and abuse, fraud, whatever you want to call it, you're finding. A lot of executive orders, and now bills starting to move through Congress. When is it reasonable to tell the American people you're going to start feeling actually real price relief?
They have to pass a bill.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable in the coming weeks and months when our policies begin to really take effect in the economy. It's not instantaneous. It's not as though you can flip a switch. But we're moving all the dials as quickly as we can. And when you do cut taxes and you do cut regulations, which we're going to do in earnest, and when you find and eliminate fraud, waste, and abuse, that has a way of spurring on a pro-growth economy. And remember, Leland, this is not theory. We did this in the first Trump administration. Before COVID, we had the greatest economy in the history of the world. We had every demographic doing better. Wages were going up. The labor participation rate was at an all-time high. And inflation was low because the economy was working again. Restoring American energy dominance is a big piece of that. There are a lot of components, and we're the party that believes in those principles and will deliver it, and the American people will see the effect of that.
All right, so
guys, I 100% believe we're at an inflection point, not just for the American people, but for political parties as a whole. We had the Republican Party, we had the Democratic Party. Trump came in, created essentially the MAGA party. Now, he did run on the Republican ticket, but nobody really cares about the old rhino Republicans establishment like George W. Bush, Jeb Bush, Mitch McConnell, those types of people. People like the new MAGA, which is like, think about it. Tulsi Gabbard is a Republican now. She was a Democrat. RFK, I think maybe he's a Republican already. This new wave is what people are looking towards instead of this Republican Democrat, if the old way. I wanted to show you this because this is as important as any of the other news I ever show you guys. Elon Musk's ex company is going to pay Trump $10 million because back in the day, Twitter banned him after the January 6th protest and whatnot. Well, even Elon Musk's company is going to pay up. Facebook had to pay Trump $25 million. Right now, Trump's legal defense is fighting YouTube and Google. And based upon everything that he's already won, with Meta and CBS and all this stuff that he's about to win, we're about to see Trump make some real money for them kicking him off back in 2021. Want to say thank you so much, Jeff Loves the Truth, for the super chat. Let's go. And guys, just want to say thank you so much for your support. We got almost 1,600 people watching. Guys, if you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, let me get it right there. Right there. Let's get to 2,000 likes, guys. We can do it. I love your support, guys. You are my sponsors. We don't show sponsors on the show. We're here to serve you. Jeff Loves the Truth said, Joel, thank you for all your hard work in bringing us the truth. 100%, brother. And thank you so much, Mr. Tracy J. Norby, who said it's time to be sure the country comes back to we the people, not for the ones who keep the taxpayers' money and hand it away to foolish abroad. We deserve better than this. Let's go. Y'all show Mr. Norby some truth. So, guys, what I'm about to show you next, Congress actually got the people to admit that we've been giving our money, your money, taxpayer money, to, guess who? The Taliban, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. We've never had them actually admit this on Congress floor. But what you're about to see, guys, the world is changing. Transparency is coming. Listen to this.
And if you're wondering who's in charge of Afghanistan getting the money, and that money I just mentioned, the $697 million is on top of, and is in addition to the weekly to every 10-day shipments in cash of $40 to $80 million.
That's what we still give them.
Afghanistan is ruled by folks named Sarayuddin Haqqani. The Haqqani network mean anything to anybody in the room? How about Abdullah bin Laden? Who gets some of that money? Does that name ring a bell to anybody in the room? Because your money, $697 million annually, plus the shipments of cash funds madrasas, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, ISIS Khorasan, terrorist training camps. That's what it's funding. If you think that the program under Operation Enduring Sentinel, entitled Women's Scholarship Endowment, which receives $60 million annually, or the Young Women Lead, which gets about $5 million annually, is going to women who, by the way, if you read the Inspector General's report, is telling you that the Taliban does not allow women to speak in public. Yet somehow you're believing, and American people are supposed to believe, that this money is going for the betterment of the women in Afghanistan. It is not. You are funding terrorism, and it's coming through USAID. And it's not just Afghanistan.
The $40 million a week that comes on the airplane and comes into Afghanistan. So the plane comes in weekly. The amount of money on the plane weekly is $43 million to $87 million. But one thing I want Americans to understand is in that bucket of the $40 million we send each week, we are paying basically welfare to the Taliban martyrs' families. So every Taliban member who died during the war with us, the U.S. government is paying them a stipend, the family. So our families of Americans who died there aren't getting squat, but we are paying Taliban families for basically dying while attacking us.
Whoa.
Yes, we're funding that.
This is just enraging.
And, you know, I asked a couple of people that question straight out, like, do you not think this is not ethically correct? And actually, one person gave me an answer of, well, it'll stop them from joining ISIS. I'm like, the Taliban guy's already dead. Like, they give you these excuses as to why they're funding, like,
our enemies. Guys, like, again, we've never had this level of transparency, I don't think, ever. In the past at least 100 years that the United States has been in the modern age that we are in right now. But yet, what I'm showing you right now. So Elon Musk asked Doge, he asked his people and he said, would you like Doge to audit the IRS? 51% said yes, 41% said F yes, and 8% said no. Those are probably bots. But this was out of almost 1.9 million votes, guys. And so the Doge officially has entered the IRS today. They are officially auditing the IRS in DC. And they're asking questions. They're looking at why 90% of the time the people they get audited are the people making under 400,000. That it's honestly, it's beautiful, guys. This is a beautiful picture of what I'm about to show you next. Jeff loves the truth. Thank you so much for the super chat, brother. Said Trump for a third term. Let's go. I don't know, man. I think we got some amazing people to take the mantle. B1 Sly One. Thank you for gifting One True Life News membership. Thank you, What's New, for the super chat. Said welcome to the MAGA world. Y'all show What's New. B1 Sly One and Jeff loves the truth. Some love in the chat, guys. Y'all are amazing. I love this, guys. What you're about to see is accountability. We knew it could happen, but it's another thing to actually live through it as it's happening. Check this out.
There's been a break-in at the IRS. Doge just kicked in the door and ordered executives to put their hands where they can see them. There was an ultimatum. We can do this the easy way or the hard way.
Doge workers arrived today, Gavin Klager and others arrived today at the IRS. Do you expect to close the IRS, or what are you expecting?
No, I don't expect it, but I think that the Internal Revenue Service will be looked at like everybody else. Just about everybody's going to be looked at. So it's they're doing a hell of a job. It's an amazing job they're doing. And you know, that force is building these, I call it the force of super geniuses, but it's building. And you know, they go up and they talk to some of the people about certain deals, and the people get all tongue-tied. They can't talk because these people get it. They're very smart people. We need smart people.
Big Balls is making bureaucrats tongue-tied. What's this contract for? Terminated. Next up is NASA. Elon's nerd army is reviewing their spending. I have a feeling we're going to find NASA isn't all about outer space. If agencies can't justify their headcount, Musk's planning on slashing every department by 30 to 40%. Woo! If Doge finds an unused federal building, they're going to sell it and put the profits in the piggy bank. Trump has his eyes on 14,000 vacant federal buildings. So if you want to live in an 80,000 square foot estate at the foot of the Potomac that's been collecting cobwebs for 6 decades, put in a bid. The government has more money than it knows what to do with. We just found out we're funding Palestinian hip-hop.
I uncovered over $3 million to a rap artist in Gaza producing anti-Israel, anti-Semitic songs. Is that the best use of American taxpayer dollars? I would venture not.
And here's who got the money.
Okay, I'm not going to play this, guys. I'm not going to get demonetized, but it happened. Oh.
Kanye West Bank, his organization. We're paying Palestinians to rap about the bombs we sold Bibi. American taxpayers are like bookies. We're on both sides of every deal. We spent $20 billion to freak out a bunch of pets.
Injecting puppies with cocaine, staging hamster fight clubs, putting dead turtles on treadmills. Cats have marbles shoved up their rectums and are electroshocked to make them defecate in constipation experiments. Examine the effects of party drugs on animals injected with testosterone.
Who are we buying the cocaine from? I can get a gram from Gutfeld and give it to Rookie. Why does that cost so much? I can find a dead turtle in a pond, throw it on a treadmill, hit start, watch it keel over. That's free. A hamster fight club? Did they hire Joe Rogan to announce the fight? $20 billion is what Trump asked Congress for to build the border wall.
And
we did this instead. We're also learning through the New York Post, the Department of Health and Human Services wasted $22 billion buying migrants cars and homes.
What?
And giving them seed money to start businesses.
What?
Now Jose has a cattle.
Hold on, $22 billion. They bought cars, homes, and started businesses. Are you kidding me? Guys, thank you so much for your support. We got almost 2,000 people watching. If you don't mind, remember, you're my sponsors. Hit that thumbs up like button. It's free, guys. Love y'all so much. Thank you, Andy, for the super chat. Said all these families who lost a USA soldier in these wars should sue all these liberals and rhino traders for their crimes. I agree. They need to be taken care of. And we can pay for the Taliban to get stipends. We need to be taking care of our own soldiers.
A bungalow, a side hustle, and a credit score of 740. Did we buy cars and homes for folks in North Carolina after Helene? And Biden's EPA couldn't get the money out the door fast enough.
An extremely disturbing video circulated 2 months ago featuring a Biden EPA political appointee talking about how they were tossing gold bars off the Titanic, rushing to get billions of your tax dollars out the door before Inauguration Day. The gold bars were tax dollars, and tossing them off the Titanic meant the Biden administration knew they were wasting it.
Knew it.
Right before Christmas, Biden's EPA gave the Climate United Fund $7 billion. This climate fund looks like a slush fund to funnel cash to Joe's donors for pet projects. We looked to see who ran the fund and went to the board of directors page. They scrubbed it. It's all gone. They took the money and ran. That's why Trump calls it the Green New Scam. Doge is saving over $1 billion a day chasing this trash down, and Democrats are acting like they're getting carpet bombed.
What does that mean when an unelected billionaire can waltz into our agencies and slash and burn the whole thing to the ground like a Taliban terrorist?
Only a Democrat thinks defunding cocaine puppies is terrorism.
Wow.
Bill Clinton fired almost 400,000 federal bureaucrats. No one called him a terrorist. We called him Slick Willie. And Trump and Elon are offering very generous buyouts. 75,000 workers have already took them up on it. The retirement cave hostages are working 24/7 processing all this paperwork. Trump's doing exactly what Obama wished he did.
One of the commitments that I made to the American people was that we would do a better job here in Washington in rooting out wasteful spending. We don't need to wait for Congress in order to do something about wasteful spending that's out there. Cutting waste, making government more efficient is something that leaders in both parties have worked on. We haven't seen as much action out of Congress as we'd like, and that's why we launched on our own initiative the campaign to cut waste.
So Obama said he didn't need to wait for Congress to cut waste, fraud, and abuse? That's funny. The New York Times has always covered government waste under Obama, Clinton, Bush, everybody. Yesterday, the Times reported the federal government loses between $233 to $521 billion a year to fraud. And in the same week, the Times writes this headline: Musk asserts without proof that bureaucracy is rife with fraud. Without proof, the Times just reported the proof. And it's based on the government's own accounting. This is why no one trusts the media. Finally, Trump hired a rocket scientist with an IT department to root out the fraud, and the Democrats are against it.
Who the hell voted for Mr. Musk? Who the hell voted for, excuse the phrase, a guy who calls himself Big Balls?
No one voted for Musk. So what? No one voted for Fauci either. You voted for the president.
Yep.
And he appoints people. And why are we even having this conversation? Trump ran on reform and won on it with Musk at his side. And Musk is doing everything under a national spotlight. He's not hiding in the shadows like Soros, financing open borders and crime waves. These people are never going to learn. After getting humiliated by the Russia hoax, Maddow's back to spreading conspiracies.
Elon Musk has apparently somehow convinced the United States government, specifically the United States Department of State, that the taxpayers of the United States of America should spend $400 million buying, quote, armored Tesla production units. Isn't it great and definitely not at all illegal or profoundly corrupt? Definitely not ripping us all off to pay themselves, right?
Donald Trump didn't give that contract to Elon Musk. Joe Biden gave it to him.
Ooh.
Even liberals are calling Maddow out. The 400 million armored Tesla story is a fake scandal in a sea of real graft and horror. And there's a difference.
Guys, I just got to say, it's beautiful to see left-leaning news outlets calling out left-leaning news outlets because they just can't stop lying. The gaslighting doesn't work anymore. The transparency is on the next level, guys. I believe that in the next year, we're probably going to get access to seeing what the government spends our money on online. I've heard that in between, I've heard in between the grapevines, so to say, that's what Elon is working on. He said, we want U.S. citizens to be able to log in using their social security number and see what the government is spending your money on. So I'm super excited about this, but what I love too is that never in my wildest dreams would I see things happening this fast, and I hope you're loving it too.
Between Musk winning competitive bids to provide armored trucks to diplomats in dangerous countries and contracts going to Greek DEI consultants, Caribbean sex change surgeries, and hamster cage fights. Rachel should stick to working Mondays. This 5 days a week thing's not working out for her. Teslas are made in America. The State Department asked for them, unlike trans musicals or Sesame Street in Iraq. No one asked for that. Most of the country wants that stuff cut, and Democrats should too.
People want the government to work better. They believe that Mr. Musk, one of the most extraordinary entrepreneurs in human history, who does not fail at just about anything, they want him to do this, most Americans. They wanted Trump. They elected him. Democrats are only focused on one thing right now, Mr. Musk. The fact of the matter, he's quite popular. He has the largest platform in human history, which is, of course, Twitter/X. And I think we're missing the boat as Democrats. And Democrats are being steamrolled.
This isn't just about money. It's about people behind the scenes abusing power they don't have to finance sick and twisted fantasies like migrant shopping sprees and sex changes and reverse racism and injecting narcotics into animals. Doge is a blessing from the heavens above. The Wall Street Journal puts it this way, quote, Elon Musk's glorious rampage through official Washington is like something from a dream. Even Ronald Reagan, the great apostle of smaller government, couldn't achieve in 8 years what Mr. Musk has done in 3.5 weeks. The billionaire businessman is less apostle than avenging angel. The Department of Government Efficiency is the change we've been waiting for. The Democrats got caught cold in the middle of a bank heist. Doge walked into the vault. Democrats were stuffing wads of cash in their bags, and they're mad that Musk is telling them to put the bags down. The bank robbers aren't the victims here. The American taxpayers are.
100%, guys. And guess what? Guys, I'm telling you, they're finding some stuff. Trump came out and said USAID may have helped Democrats steal the 2020 election. He said, and I quote, so it could have had a role. There were a lot of bad things that happened in 2020. I think bad things happened in 2024, but it was too big to rig. I 100% agree, guys. We just found out that Reuters was given $9 million to essentially be propaganda for the Democratic Party. Elon Musk came out and said Reuters was literally paid by the federal government for large-scale social deception. That's literally what it says on the official government documents. Large-scale social deception. Right here, guys. Like, look at this. Includes includes COVID-19. At the very bottom, description. This is literally from usaspending.gov. You cannot make this up. At the very bottom, guys, right at the bottom. I hope you can see it. It says description, active social engineering defense, large scale social deception. Are you freaking kidding me? I'm sorry to pardon my French. I actually don't cuss at all, guys, but pardon my French because freaking is like cussing for me. Large scale social deception is what we paid to Reuters out of taxpayer dollars to try to be better for the Democratic Party. Thank you so much, GLO, for the super chat. Let's go. He said, justice will be sweet. Guys, we bring the receipts. We bring them. What I'm about to show you next is more of Congress. Things are happening in Congress. It's beautiful. Want to say thank you to everybody who's watching. Almost over 1,800 people, guys. We're so close to 2,000 likes. If you haven't hit the haven't hit the like button, guys, please be my sponsor and hit the like button. It's free. Check this out.
What a difference a few years make. 4 years ago, President Trump was banned from all platforms, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Today, he has his own platform. He's back on all the others. And of course, he's president of the United States. 4 years ago, Democrat members of Congress sent a letter to telecommunication companies pressuring them to kick Fox and Newsmax off of a cable network. Today, both are still on. Both are doing fine. Fox has more viewers than MSNBC and CNN combined. 4 years ago, the White House was actively pressuring big tech to censor Americans. You don't have to take my word for it. Mark Zuckerberg wrote the committee a letter. Told us it was going on. He said, the Biden administration pressured us to censor. We did it. We're sorry. We ain't going to do it anymore. Today, they've changed their policies, got rid of the independent fact checkers, and actually embraced the First Amendment. Imagine that. And maybe the best example of what they were doing happened on the third day of the administration. Example we've highlighted many times in this committee in the last Congress. Third day of the Biden administration, there was an email sent from Clark Humphrey to Twitter. Email said, wanted to flag the below tweet, and we hope you can get moving on the process for having it removed ASAP. Take down this tweet as soon as possible. And who was the tweet by? Who did the tweet? The guy who's going to be named Secretary of Health and Human Services here sometime this week, Robert F. Kennedy, who just happened to be the guy who was going to run against the very people trying to take down the tweet. What did the tweet say? Hank Aaron's tragic death is part of a wave of suspicious death among elderly closely following administration of the vaccine. He received the vaccine on January 5th to inspire other Black Americans to get the vaccine. There is not one thing in that two-sentence tweet that's not true. Absolutely true. But the Biden administration was pressured to take it down. That's when the term, actually it's Mr. Schellenberg's term, the censorship industrial complex, that's what it is right there, front and center. And it's much broader than that. By the way, the guy who authored this tweet, who's going to be voted by the United States Senate to be the next Secretary of Health and Human Services, we had him as a witness in front of this committee 2 years ago. And when Rfk Jr came in to testify, Democrats made a motion to go to executive session. Executive session, kick everyone out so that no one could hear what Rfk Jr was going to testify to in a hearing on censorship. You can't make this stuff up. 2 years ago, we learned that 51 former Intel officials lied to the country when they said the Hunter Biden laptop story had all the classic earmarks of a Russian information operation. Today, all 51 of those people have lost their security clearance. A few years ago, GARM, the misnamed Global Alliance for Responsible Media, was coordinating an effort with major advertisers to limit ads on conservative platforms and websites. Today, GARM is out of business.
Woo!
Climate Action 100 a few years ago coordinated an effort of financial institutions to pressure companies to reduce oil and gas emissions and production. Today, Climate Action 100 out of business.
Yes.
A few years ago, the Stanford Internet Observatory was working. Today, they're out of business. INSAM was doing the same thing a few years ago. Today, they've stopped operation. What a difference a few years can make. And so much of this change started in October of 2022 when Elon Musk purchased Twitter. I think he said something like, I didn't spend $44 billion to buy Twitter. I spent $44 billion to save the First Amendment. And of course, that effort began with the Twitter files. And two of the Twitter files authors are with us today as witnesses. Matt Taibbi wrote the very first Twitter file, and I think 11 or 12 others over the time that all that information was coming out. Mr. Schellenberger was also an author, and as I said earlier, he's the guy who coined the term the censorship industrial complex. Big government working with big universities, working with other government agencies, the White House working on all this, pressuring big tech to censor Americans' speech. Both Democrats, both award-winning journalists, both Democrats at the time when they testified last Congress, both award-winning journalists, both testified multiple times in front of this committee last Congress. And what was their reward for coming forward and defending the First Amendment? They were attacked. They were referred to in this committee as so-called journalists, even though they won all kinds of awards and are best-selling authors. They were asked to disclose their sources in a hearing by Democrats in front of this committee. And they were named personally in a letter by the FTC chair, Lena Khan, when Ms. Khan asked Elon Musk, who were the journalists you were talking to? And of course, maybe most importantly, we all remember that at the very moment Mr. Taibbi was testifying in front of this committee, the IRS was knocking on his door. Just one big coincidence. Very time he's talking to this committee, testifying in front of this committee, the IRS was knocking on his door. Ms. Subramanya was targeted for covering the trucker blockade in Canada. She also testified last year in front of this committee, and she warned us. She's ahead of her time. She warned us about what was coming in Europe and around the world with the censorship efforts we're seeing in other Western nations. One of the things she said when she testified almost 2 years ago, she said, what is under threat is a core value of Western civilization. Never forget that. Powerful statement, and that's what's at stake here. So I appreciate the work you've all done, what we've been able to uncover. Appreciate the work of the president and Mr. Musk and what he's started with the Twitter files, and then what we were able to do with all these other platforms and the dramatic change we have seen. But I am nervous about what's happening in Europe because it's the Digital Services Act they are using to pressure tech companies to censor globally, which impacts Americans as well. And this is something the committee is going to look into as we move forward. But I want to thank you all for being here today. And with that, I would recognize the ranking member.
Guys, I love it. Again, it's transparency. You know, I told you that Reuters literally was paid for large-scale deception to put out articles to deceive the public by our own government. It's literally what it says on the receipt, guys. Trump said Doge looks like the radical left's. Reuters was paid $9 million by the Department of Defense to study large-scale social deception. Give back the money now. I love it, guys. Richard Anderson, thank you so much for the super chat. Said cash is in the house. Time for some FO. Thank you so much, Richard. And Edward Craney, first time super chat. Thank you so much, brother. Y'all show Edward and Richard some love in the chat, guys. What a wonderful show. We got over 2,100 people watching, guys. Remember, our goal, you are my sponsors, is to get to 2,000 likes every time we stream, live on stream. We're so close, guys. And want to say thank you to all of our subscribers. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Let me take care of you every day with the top news. Thank you to all of our members of the channel. Remember, we take the membership money, we take the super chats, we donate it to charity, guys, live on stream, so you can see that we're giving back, guys. This channel is going to give back. I want to give some love to Summerman, Jeff Loves the Truth, Andy, Mr. Tracy J. Norby, B1 Sly One, What's New, GLO, Richard Anderson, Edward Craney. Guys, show them some love in the chat. We couldn't do this without you. We're here to serve you every single day with the top news. I hope you like it, guys. I got a new camera, getting upgraded on the quality. And we got the new thing we're going to get. Here, let me show y'all. One of our members painted this, guys. Literally painted this for us. It's an oil painting. Check this out. We're going to be hanging this, baby. This was by Woodbury Hill Studio. We're going to be hanging it back here. Got to get a frame for it. But this is beautiful, guys. What a monumental moment. We love you guys. Appreciate everybody in the chat. And we're here to serve you. Remember, Monday through Friday, 2 shows a day. Saturday, 1 show. Sunday, 1 show. We love you guys. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.